Welcome to PingTellect. This is the place you come when you want to know the surprising truth behind things you thought you already understood. Today we're starting with your mornings. Breakfast was invented by a cereal company. Not doctors. Not scientists. But the cereal giant Kellogg's. And what they did to make you believe it didn't just change your mornings. It changed how entire industries sell you beliefs about your own health. But to understand how it happened, we need to go back to a sanitarium in Michigan in 1894 and meet the most influential man in food history. His name was John Harvey Kellogg. He was brilliant, deeply eccentric, and absolutely convinced that the modern diet was destroying humanity. He believed that rich food, meat, fat, spice, excited the body in ways that led to moral and physical ruin. His solution was bland, simple food. Food that calmed the body and quieted what he considered dangerous appetites. He ran a sanitarium in Battle Creek, Michigan, a health resort for wealthy Americans seeking a cure for whatever ailed them. And he was obsessed with digestion. One day, almost by accident, he and his brother left a batch of boiled wheat out overnight. When they ran it through rollers the next morning, instead of a sheet of dough they got something unexpected. Individual flakes. After toasting and tasting the flakes, they realized they had stumbled onto something. Kellogg then served the flakes to his patients as a health food, a digestive aid, something gentle and pure for troubled stomachs. But his brother saw something else entirely. He saw a business opportunity, but wanted to add sugar to make the flakes more appealing. John refused. He was appalled at the idea of corrupting his health food. The brothers argued bitterly over this and their relationship never recovered. Will took the recipe anyway, built a factory and added sugar to the flakes, and in 1906 launched the Battle Creek Toasted Corn Flake Company, which you know today simply as Kellogg's. But having a product was one thing. Convincing an entire civilization to reorganize their mornings around it, that was a different challenge altogether. In the early 1900s, the American breakfast looked very different to what it does today. Working-class families ate whatever was available: bread, leftovers, sometimes nothing at all. Wealthier households ate heavily: meat, eggs, rich foods that sat in the stomach for hours. There was no universal belief that breakfast was essential, and no cultural consensus that skipping it was dangerous. It was simply a meal, one of three, no more sacred than the others. Kellogg's needed to change that. They began funding research that positioned breakfast as medically essential. They produced pamphlets endorsed by doctors warning of the dangers of starting the day without a proper morning meal. They ran advertisements connecting breakfast cereal directly to energy, health, and the well-being of children. And they repeated the message over and over and over again. Here is something important to understand about how beliefs form. Repetition feels like evidence. When we hear something often enough from enough different directions, we stop questioning it and start accepting it. Not because we've been fooled exactly, but because that's simply how human minds work. Familiarity becomes truth. Kellogg's understood this before the science of persuasion had even named it. By the mid-20th century, the job was done. Breakfast was the most important meal of the day. It was printed on cereal boxes, taught in schools, repeated by doctors who had absorbed it as received wisdom without ever questioning its origins. A marketing campaign had become a medical fact. And nobody noticed the join. But here's what makes this story truly unsettling. What Kellogg's did wasn't just effective, it was replicable, and the food industry noticed. In the 1960s, internal documents, only made public decades later, revealed that the sugar industry paid scientists to shift blame for heart disease away from sugar and onto fat. They funded research. They shaped conclusions. They got doctors to repeat the message until it became accepted wisdom. Sound familiar? Big Tobacco did the same thing with smoking research for decades. Funding studies, manufacturing doubt, keeping a question mark over something that science had already answered clearly. Kellogg's didn't just sell you breakfast. They showed an entire generation of industries how to sell you beliefs. Fund the research, control the conclusion, get authority figures to repeat it. Let repetition do the rest. Once you see the pattern, you see it everywhere. So what does the science actually tell us, now that researchers have gone back and asked the question properly without a cereal company funding the answer? For most healthy adults, skipping breakfast has no proven negative effect on metabolism, energy levels, or cognitive performance. Studies that once claimed otherwise have largely failed to replicate when conducted independently. Some research suggests that for certain people, skipping breakfast can actually support weight management and improve metabolic health. But here's the nuance that matters. For children, breakfast genuinely does appear to support concentration through the school day. For athletes in heavy training, morning nutrition matters. So breakfast isn't useless. It just isn't universally essential in the way we were told. Your body is not a cereal box. It doesn't run on marketing copy. Here's what I want you to take away from this. It isn't really about breakfast at all. It's about who benefits from what you believe. About how industries with a financial interest in your choices have shaped those choices, quietly, gradually, and so completely that the belief stops feeling like a belief and starts feeling like common sense. Breakfast was just the beginning. The story of how the sugar industry buried the truth about fat. How the olive oil in your cupboard probably isn't what the label says. How the dates printed on your food packaging were never about your safety. These are all stories worth telling. And that's exactly what PingTellect is here for. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's your ping for today. If this changed the way you see your mornings, follow PingTellect. Because we're just getting started.